the small town of Manteno, Illinois, a true place of horror can be found: the Manteno Asylum. The asylum opened its doors in 1930 with 100 patients transferred over from the Kankakee State Hospital. This facility was designed to treat the mentally ill and house psychopaths, the criminally insane, alcoholics, and people requiring elderly care. The asylum was built on 1,200 acres, with the hospital complex taking up 400 of these. The other 800 acres were used for farming by staff members and patients as a form of therapy. The asylum functioned as a small city, with its own administrative officials, systems of roads, restaurants, police, fire department, and utility system. The buildings were all connected by underground tunnels, which is said to be a hotbed for paranormal activity. What went on in these tunnels? Is this where the patient abuse took place in the darkness, hidden away from prying eyes? One can only imagine what took place in what could be called the dungeon of the asylum. Overgrown with trees and weeds, the asylum appears today as a reflection of how these patients must have felt and how poorly they were treated. As you walk down the building's long halls, you get a sense of being watched and followed. It's been said if you're lucky, some may say unlucky, you can hear the sounds of patients screaming in pain. Many have reported shadow figures that appear, then quickly disappear, before your mind can fully absorb what your eyes just saw. By 1955, the asylum housed over 8,000 patients with a capacity of only 5,000. There was no such thing as privacy in the asylum with these overcrowded conditions. It was said that urine and feces could be found in all corners of the asylum, and it was heavily rodent and maggot infested. This, combined with the ridiculous patient-to-staff ratio, was a perfect storm for pain and suffering. What you're looking at right in front of you is all that is left of the bathtubs they used for hydrotherapy. These tubs would be filled with ice-cold water, and the staff would plunge the patients in and out of them as a form of experimental therapy. In 1959, an epidemic of typhoid fever broke out in the asylum, with 453 patients getting sick and resulting in 60 deaths. Sewage brooms used for scrubbing floors were later used for cleaning the cooking utensils and the meat block where the meat was carved. Then there is the urban legend of Genevieve Pilarski. Committed to the Manteno Asylum in 1944 by her parents after she had an argument with them about where she would live. She had just recently completed 3 years of college at the University of Illinois, majoring in chemistry, and was said to suffer from episodes of manic depressive disorder. She found herself involuntarily experimented on in the asylum's research ward in the 1950s. It was documented in the Chicago Tribune newspaper article that she was lobotomized in 1955. After her stay at the Manteno Asylum, she was shipped around from ward to ward and nursing home to nursing home, spending the last 20 years of her life incapable of any kind of human interaction. She died at one of these nursing homes at the age of 80, a ward of the state. She was treated with hydrotherapy, was given 40 insulin shock therapies, around 200 electroshock therapies, and lobotomized. The thought of all this would even make the most sadistic of people cringe. But it's only an urban legend, right? The sad fact of the matter is that this story of Genevieve Pilarski is far from legend and is a well-documented case of the cruel, despicable, and unjust treatment of a patient living at the Manteno Asylum. This is just one example of the many horrific tortures that took place behind the doors of the asylum. Is it any wonder that the tortured souls of these patients still roam the halls of the Manteno Asylum, looking for revenge and seeking the peace they may never find?